Some artifacts are not objects. They're utterances, words made solid, dangerous not because of what they are, but what they imply. This is not a confession. It is an autopsy of a sentence, one that was never meant to be spoken. I had spent most of my life studying language, courtroom testimonies, criminal codes, cursed inscriptions, but nothing, not even the madness encoded in schizophrenic manifestos, prepared me for what I encountered that winter. That damned paw, that linguistic snare. It arrived cloaked in familiarity, a friend's tale over drinks. Sergeant Major Morris, a man seasoned by war and weather, dropped it on our parlor table like a punchline. A dried monkey's paw, mummified and curled like a question mark. 3 wishes, he said. Each granted, each cursed. My son Herbert laughed. My wife smiled politely. I, however, listened. Not to the tale, but the structure of it. The rhythm. The precision of the sergeant's warnings. They come true, he said, but not how you want. It was that clause that caught me, the linguistic pivot. A wish, once spoken, becomes a contract. And the paw? It was a clause bender, a semantical weapon. Still, I kept it. I told myself it was curiosity. But in truth, I had grown arrogant. After decades dissecting language, decoding confessions, and cult rituals, I believed I could outwit fate through careful syntax. That night, we joked. Herbert urged me to wish for money. Be specific, he laughed. Ask for £200 exactly, tax-free. The scholar in me obliged. I held the paw and said the words aloud. I wish for £200. No conditions, no context, no safeguards. The moment the utterance left my lips, the paw writhed. Not metaphorically, literally. It curled tighter. I felt it, like a muscle reacting to breath. Language, once given form, had listened, and it had obeyed. We laughed it off. The next day, the knock came. A factory man, hands trembling, words brittle as ash. An accident, he said. Herbert crushed in the machinery. No fault, no negligence. Just an unfortunate event. As compensation, £200. I do not remember falling. Only the cold certainty that I had spoken this outcome into existence. I had formed the sentence. The paw had only finished it. In the days that followed, my wife drowned in grief. But I drowned in syntax. Could I revise it? Could a second wish unwrite the first? One night, wild-eyed and bone-thin, my wife clutched my hands. Bring him back, she pleaded. Just say it. I protested. Words don't undo, they complicate. She wept. I folded. I retrieved the paw, now stiff and resentful. I said, I wish my son alive again. No time limit, no condition, no specification of how. The night that followed was one of linguistic agony. Every creak was a predicate, every whisper of wind a potential response. And then, the knock. Slow, measured. Knock, knock, knock. My wife screamed with joy. It's him! But I heard something else. It wasn't Herbert's knock. It was heavier, as if shaped by limbs that no longer moved naturally. There was meaning in the pacing of those sounds. They formed a sentence, an imperative. Let me in. She rushed to the door. I screamed after her, but she was already unbolting locks, sobbing with anticipation. I ran not to her, but to the paw. And this time I was precise. I wish my son dead again. And at peace, the knock stopped. When I reached the open door, the only thing there was fog. No footsteps, no body, just silence. A terrible, grateful silence. My wife collapsed beside me. She never spoke to me again. They called it grief. I call it syntax fracture. She died within the year, and I remained behind with the paw. It sits here beside this letter, which I write not to confess, but to warn. Language is not benign. It is structure, power, curse. The monkey's paw doesn't grant wishes. It listens. It corrects. It rephrases your desire in the cruelest version of itself. and it will keep listening long after your last breath. I will burn it now, but fire does not erase grammar. So if someday you find ashes that twitch or hear 3 knocks after an idle wish, remember, you are the subject, fate is the verb, and some sentences were never meant to end.